Alright, it is a Wednesday, 9:29 a.m., a minute before the market open. I like doing this, I think, just a few minutes, if not the last minute before the market opens, because then I get my thoughts as quickly as possible. And as for IND, I'm probably going to remove it, but this can do some kind of reversal. I mean, it kind of did one yesterday, but the way it did it wasn't nicely. AABB could be a morning panic bounce play. It could also be like a second green day, maybe trying to reach the highs again. HYSR, morning panic bounce play. LZSC, honestly, I'm just going to watch this. I don't know what to do with this one after I had that downtrend. Geez, I guess now the stocks are moving. I'm going to be focused on morning panic bounce plays for pretty much all of these. If they do something clean, especially ELEK. I actually normally don't like, the stocks that Sykes likes to trade, because they're usually like just breaking news setups and you have to be right then and there, and the volume isn't really that nice. But this one actually did something. My issue for not checking stocks to trade, seeing what's up or down on the day, if there were any new runners. So again, I'm going to focus on morning panic bounce plays. Probably not this one, although it'll probably do something, just because it's a higher priced OTC and it was only up one day. Although that one day it was up, it was considerable. I'll make an update to see if we have any setups, but there's a lot of things I have to get better with. Okay, it is 9:39. I'm up just a small amount, just $4. I traded I think like a $200 position. It was super small, 10,000 shares, and this was the setup. RGBP, morning panic bounce play, drops from 23 to 21. This is the level to play off of. It was trying to hold this range, but when it had this little wick right here, when it broke the day low just briefly, there was a whole lot of people trying to dump their shares at the bid, but it was holding so well. I thought, what's the chance that it's actually trying to hold off of this 21 level, and it just briefly broke it just a little bit, but because it held so well, it might turn around. So I was in at 9:35, which was the same one right here, the same minute where it kind of broke under the level at 21.1. So that was my entry right here. And then once we had this crazy spike above VWAP, I sold immediately at 9:36, half of my position at 215, and then I tried selling the rest when it was starting to just trade up here, and I think I sold some at 218 and some at 216, I believe, in this candle right here. So it averaged out to 217. Not the biggest percent gain, I think, but I don't know. I said this before when I traded a morning panic bounce play. I really like the way I traded this, but maybe when I'm in a morning panic bounce play and it immediately works and it gets to VWAP, maybe I'll sell, instead of half or most of my position, I'll sell like a smaller portion, maybe a third, and then maybe I can try to be able to sell for more. Besides that, I don't actually regret the way I traded this thing. It's still looking like it can do something, but nah, I'm happy with where I sold. Although this thing can try to do something super nice too. It's just a bit jumpy. I was also looking at I think it was, I don't know, it was AABB probably. Yeah, the way this one turned around was kind of disgusting, but it was a morning panic bounce play. I was watching this one first. It dropped from 22 to 20, so about 10%. But I just can't explain to you how this one was. It opened here, and then I think it went up here, and then it went all the way down, and then it closed there. It was really weird the way it traded, and it never really got, near its lows. Again, unlike most morning panic bounce plays. So I never gave this one any money, but this one is working too. And this one offered better range than RGBP, but I would rather trade RGBP just because it was a lot cleaner. Nothing with HYSR. I saw IND was down, but I was not going to trade this one for a morning panic bounce because of how, low it is off of its highs. This one did do a morning panic bounce play. This looks like it could have been hard to trade because it's kind of a liquid. I don't mind missing this one because, again, it was only up one day. It's a higher priced OTC. It doesn't trade with much volume. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't have volume, but you know what I mean. Like, it's a low flow, really low flow OTC stock. And I don't think there was anything else that was doing it. DPLS is kind of doing one, but I wouldn't have been that interested because of the daily chart. OZSC, this one's just weird, but I'll watch it. TGGI just spiked, and then it's gonna have a big panic randomly in the afternoon too. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna see how this one trades. It does offer like dip under VWAP setups, although maybe not today. I'll probably be looking at TGGI, OZSC, although this was a bit scary, and I'll look at RGBP and AABB if it does like a higher low setup off of the panic bottom. Yeah, I like how AABB really worked out, but this was so hard. I wasn't gonna put any money in this. Literally the least volume minute it traded was this one. Alright, I'll make an update later. Alright, it is 10:04 a.m. and I'm looking at ELEK. Even though this one is like a stock that was only up one day, it was up a lot. I actually was not expecting this move right here to the 640s. I would have expected it to maybe try to head towards VWAP, but had I have, instead of just watching this stock, actually, try to figure out my position size to, do like a dollar risk level, which is $8 for me at the moment here. Maybe in theory I could have been in a setup like this, but sometimes when they just are that crazy, they trade the pattern so cleanly. This is a really nice squeeze. I'll be honest, I would have expected this to top under here. This is like pretty close to best case scenario on a morning panic bounce play, higher low setup. I don't know if I would have even have been able to trade 40 shares. It might have been possible, but there was definitely a chance to have been in at 520 because I was at the ask for a while. And in theory, I would be risking before the chart gets too crazy and then it looks all weird to play off of. I will be risking, if it were to have broken the wick, and then maybe with some slippage, $5 is my worst case scenario, which I think is possible on something like this, because there was a wall of bidders at 5 when it was at this price. When it did try to get close to $5, right here at 505, there was a wall at 5, so in theory 5 would have held, and maybe it would have played off of 5 and turned around then and there, but that wasn't the case here. I was interested in it in these 3 candles, and then it started to take off, and I knew that I was too late. I should have done my dollar risk level if I wanted to have been in this one. I actually felt like I wasn't going to potentially be in a setup like this, and maybe 40 shares when I execute, maybe it does, and it has like 100 share block with some other people, I don't know, but in theory, if I was going to trade it again, I would be risking this wick breaking. I like to risk off of the wick, and then worst case scenario, it gets to $5. So 520, 40 shares, $208. If we go to 5, that's $8. I would not have held this, I doubt it, unless maybe I sold like partial position sizes and I somehow was still holding some. But yeah, if I were to have sold up here, it would have been because it was just a partial amount, not the entire amount. I would have likely have been out, definitely here, if not some here, definitely at VWAP, right? Because I'm in at 520 and then 550. That would have been nice. I might have sold all of it, honestly. I don't know. I should have done that dollar risk level thing, and I could have saw that maybe there was an opportunity to be in. As for the other ones, RGBP did drop all the way to the low, but this was like one of those cases where it just happens with a lot of volume, and it was very quick, so it wasn't really a setup to actually trade, at least for me. IOUS, if I were to just trade this on a pure technical basis, would have been an entry, and I would be risking the day low, and I could be long right here, and maybe it goes towards VWAP, which would be gold. But I mean, the daily chart, it just doesn't look that nice. I'm not saying it can't do it, because it probably will. I just don't think it's just something I should trade. It's just a degenerate, just pure technical setup. AABB hasn't really had a a downward trend under VWAPs for me to be interested in it. So in this case, I'm probably just going to let it be for now. Although it can be something interesting later. This is why I don't like OZSC. I was right because I did get in the setup with OZSC the first dip under VWAP, I think Friday, and that one did not work. And because of that, I decided not to trade stocks that have a first, move under VWAP. I want to trade the second or third one in case the first one, is the one that doesn't work out and that doesn't continue. At least if I'm in that second or third one, that means the first one worked out. This one failed. It's at 63. I'm not necessarily interested in trading this. I guess you can say I might try to hold a support level from here, perhaps, but not really. DPLS, nothing. Nothing here with TGGI, and yeah, 783. I don't think OTCs get halted unless it's just absolutely crazy, but this is a cool one, and it's not shortable on Schwab, not because I want to short out of curiosity. Sometimes if it's just a readily available stock to short, it can do something like this, but it doesn't seem to be shortable on Schwab, so I'll make an update later. I'll just keep watching this, I guess. Alright, it is 6:15 p.m. and I am here to call it off. Overall, I think I'm up like something like $4.70. Actually, I have the chart right here. This is my trading calendar right here, and since I've been doing that $8 risk level, I have been having really tiny losses, very small red days, and very decently sized green days in comparison. This one was a bit of an outlier. I shouldn't have shorted AABB because it wasn't considerably above EMA4, but I still have to get better at so many things, because some of these setups I could have traded so much better this month, but I am doing a lot better than last month because I wasn't even trading with a dollar risk level, which I still think was absolutely dumb, but at least I'm on the right track now. And I like how my red days, in general, is much smaller, averaged together compared to my green days, which is cool. But again, some of these setups I could have been much more profitable with. I don't remember what my risk level was with RGBP. If I had to guess, it would be 209 breaking, and then maybe it was 209 breaking, and then worst case I calculated 205, but I'm not extremely sure. And once I rewatched the video, hopefully I went over that, and then I can see if I traded the right size accordingly to that setup. I do like it. I had 2 sells. I think I'm gonna try that. It went from me just going all in and then all out, and not even being able to participate in a lot of the move towards the upside, to now just being a little better. And I'm also selling in 2 pieces at least, more often than not, which has been helping. But I think my first sell, when the setup seems to immediately work, I think I might just try to sell less, maybe not half again, perhaps just a third, and then try to hold the rest for a potential uptrend. My best sell, this was an average because I did sell 2 pieces, 2,500 shares. I wanted to sell all of the other 5,000 shares at once, but it was in 2 chunks. And my best sell was at 21.8, and it did get as high as 22.5, which would have been hard, but maybe something in the 22 would have been kind of more realistic. I'd have to really see this chart again and potentially see what would have been the possibility. It wasn't really that bad, honestly. I just like being nitpicky because it can help me, in theory, try to find ways to get better. I'm going to consider selling smaller size in the beginning again, not to sound like a broken record, but I think that's a way I can be more profitable. It did have this spike here. I never was a part of this. I never saw this. It looks like maybe news came out or something, or maybe a tweet on Twitter, and it just made it shoot up. This one was a nice head and shoulders. I would have been interested in shorting this, but it was not shortable on Schwab. It just had a dash the entire time. It was never shortable. I could have been a part of this. This is one thing I could have done better. I could have, even if it just looks like something that's not going to be possible or feasible, just do a dollar risk level, see what size I could be in theory, and maybe I could have traded something like this. I wanted to, you know, again, I doubt I would have sold that high, but, you know, that was a nice setup. ILUS, nothing considerable. I think I was talking about how I wasn't just going to take a random setup, you know, just because it's holding the day low when it has a bad looking chart like this. It actually reminds me of ISWH, which fell off a cliff because it was just in this high range for such a long time, as well as here. Not as long as ILUS, but, you know, it just faded and just fell off a cliff. So yeah, that's the case with ILUS. AABB, nothing really that I would have traded. TGGI, nothing. Burger. OZSC, I mean, it maybe had a run up at the end of the, you know, day, but I wouldn't have been interested in that. I don't necessarily like trading after 2 p.m. I kind of made a rule not to trade that late. DPLS is not looking bad. It's just choppy, but I like how it's trying to make a move towards the highs again. And yeah, that looks like it's about it. Just one trade there with RGBP, some room for improvement, and maybe best case scenario I could have been in ELEK, which would have been profitable too. I was even looking at, I have no idea what the ticker was. Was it like RVI? It was like Rivian. This one. Yeah, this is the one that had a partnership with Ford. This was a very nice inverse head and shoulders. I don't like looking at listed stocks so much, but this one trades like an OTC because it's so clean. This was an easy shoulder, double head, and then the shoulder here, you know, might have been kind of hard because it did a reversal in like 2 minutes, but that was a move from 145 to 153. I need to start considering that, and yeah, that's all I got. I don't want to make this too long. A lot of room for improvement.